Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Xiao. This will be the first video on my programming tutorials, in which I want to talk about the why question. I started learning programming when I'm about 14. I just wanted to make games, but then I discovered many people wanted to make games so they learned programming. But if you are thinking whether to learn programming, or you have learned it but not sure whether what you could do or what you should do with it, let me tell you what I think. All computers, at least those you'll be using today, are extremely powerful machines. If you own a computer, which I assume you do, you can check how fast it is by Googling the model of your computer. Today's CPUs are measured in gigahertz, or billions of clock cycles per second. The computer that was on Apollo 11, which we love to use as a frame of reference, had only 2 million cycles per second. I trust you can do the division. Point is, programming allows you to harness that power. So, if my computer is so powerful, why it's so slow, you might ask? The answer is simple. It's not. Let me give you a metaphor. Let's say you have two workers. One works fast, one works slow. You ask them to do the same thing, to go to the Tim Hortons downstairs to get your lunch. They will take pretty much the same time, because if it's anything like the Tim Hortons at where I used to work, most of the time they will spend is in the queue waiting. And the fast worker and slow worker waits at pretty much the same speed, 1 second per second. And that happens more than you think. When your computer is slow, it can be quite often a programmer wrote some silly code that took forever to run. Everything else is just blocked by it, like the long queue and short ordering time at the Tim Hortons I just mentioned. More on that later, but sometimes programming gives you some insight into what's wrong and how to fix it. Programming is what gives you the access to the real power of these magnificent devices. And what you do with that power, well, you can do quite a lot of things actually. Programming is a problem-solving skill. People who know programming sometimes just don't see things in a way they can write a program and solve it quickly and automatically. Well-made programs adapt to different situations easily. If you made a program that peels an apple, of course you can use it to peel 1,000 apples, or change some code to make it for oranges as well. For me, that often means I get to help others in the same situation. Programming has its own discipline. There's different styles, patterns, and algorithms you can combine to reach the same goal. It helps you think how to solve a problem and make responsible decisions for yourself. Because if you don't, you soon end up on a pile of code that takes longer to understand than rewriting the whole thing. It's just another way to deal with things. You calm down, analyze the problem, try to think of an approach, then write it down and see how it works. I mean, it can sound pretty vague at this point, but I'll argue it's much better than panicking. So this is the first video on tutorials I want to make on programming. I know there's a lot of videos out there already, and I'm not saying they are bad at making it right. It's just sometimes I feel people can write code and all that, but the job would have been done much better if they had another perspective in mind. What I want to do is share my view on programming, explain how things fit together for me. Because everyone kind of does it differently, so you'll get another perspective. If you're a student in IT or computer science, I'm sorry that I'm not going to have improving your exam marks in mind when I make these videos. And that's because there's a greater test in your life. And it is much, much more important. As I said at the beginning of this video, if you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend you to watch the starting part like now. I'll be right here with you when you're back. So that's the test I will try to help you achieve better marks in. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to be awesome.